Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought number 1712. I am here today with TR Tuesday, which is the Rules Tuesday. The Rules, time-tested secrets for capturing the heart of Mr. Right, and more rules to live and love by in the Rules too. Today, we're also focusing on the rules for marriage. We want to find out what we can do when he comes home. Let's see. All right. Give him 15 minutes alone when he comes home. Number 7. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Number 7. There. Okay. We read this. Knock 'em dead. We did read this already. So keep up your own interests and have a life. Page 16. It's a good one. Keep up your own interests. Have a life. It's in parentheses. This is rule number 4 in the rules for marriage. Time-tested secrets for making your marriage work. And this has been a book where actually I used it. I got married. Later I got divorced, but it worked. It worked really, really well, actually. So yeah, we divorced for other reasons, but wow, Huh. Some women make their husbands their whole life when they get married and drop many of the things that made them interesting in the first place. Some lose interest in their careers or stop working altogether. Some see less of their family and friends, and others cut back on interests and activities, including exercise. This is a mistake that we would like to help you avoid. We have encountered many women who became half a person in their marriage and came to regret it later. Right after Amy married Paul, she quit her job as a real estate agent to concentrate on getting pregnant, learning how to cook, and decorating their house. She also dropped some of her single friends. For years, she had met 5 girlfriends every Wednesday night for dinner and a movie girls' night out, but decided to skip it so she could eat dinner and watch TV with her husband. Paul didn't discourage it. In fact, he seemed flattered that she preferred his company and was happy when Amy told him she couldn't relate to her single friends anymore. But after a few months, Phil started to tire of so much togetherness. When he came home, he wanted to read a book alone instead of watch TV with Amy. He started making plans with the guys once a week to shoot hoops or go out for drinks. Amy was hurt and angry. She had dropped her friends to spend every evening with Phil, and now he was bored with her. Realizing the mistake she made, she went back to girls' night out and took a part-time job. Amy learned a painful but important lesson. Many men will be, this was, his name was really Phil, and I read it as Paul, so oh well. Many men will be flattered or even encourage their wives to drop friends or activities with them, only to lose interest in them when they do. Despite what they say, men like women the most when they're busy. They love coming home to women who lead exciting lives, who are busy exercising or writing a novel on their computer, who will tell them an interesting story about some friends or a coworker, or who have to dash because they don't want to miss their yoga class. They like it when you've got other things going on besides them and have to fight a little for your attention. Have you ever noticed that your husband wants to talk to you the most when you're on the phone or in the middle of something as opposed to when you're eager to talk or just sitting around doing nothing or waiting for him to come home? If you listen to what a man thinks he wants and make him your whole life, he will get bored and pull back, and you will feel hurt and regret it. Quote, husbands get bored when women only concentrate on them, says Nancy, who made that very mistake in her first year of marriage. She was busy in the second year by getting a job and taking ballet twice a week. The more stuff I do, the more interested he is in me. I feel better about myself and my personality is more interesting So he's more attracted to me, and now when we're together, he really appreciates me. She said, "You need to have a life apart from your husband." Andrea, a former book editor and now a stay-at-home mom who has been happily married for 5 years, concurs. She says, "I have activities and friends apart from my husband. I have been on a tennis team for 4 years and we practice and play twice a week all year round. I also belong to a monthly book club. I have taken classes at a local college and I have participated in different church functions. I think married women must have outlets away from their home, or else there's too much strain on the husband wife relationship. And I must say, it is nice to see how much my husband misses me when I spend a Sunday afternoon playing tennis. Sometimes he even comes to watch me play without my asking him to. He says he doesn't want to be away from me too long." That's what she says. Of course, another reason to have a life when you are married is that you will be less likely to break the rules. The authors are saying all these things that they know because they are married rules women. Anyway, women who are bored and restless are most likely to call their husbands a lot at work, nag, complain, find fault with them, or try to change them because they have too much time on their hands or are not happy with themselves. When you are involved in something, be it an interesting career, meeting friends for dinner and a movie, exercising, taking night courses, or doing charity work, you are busy, focused on yourself, and less likely to bother your husband. Maybe you can't relate to Amy because her case is so extreme, but here is a more common scenario. While Joan didn't make Tom her whole life, she found it hard to put herself first at times and got hurt. When she was single, she loved to take exercise classes early Sunday morning, her only day off from her retail clothing business. Tom thought it would be nice to spend Sunday mornings in bed together, eating breakfast and reading the newspaper. She agreed that it would be romantic too. So she stopped going to her favorite 9 a.m. class. After a few months, Tom started to sleep late on Sundays, sometimes until noon. An early riser, Joan would putter around the house for hours, waiting for Tom to wake up. She finally asked him one Sunday, "What happened to breakfast in bed? I've been up for hours." Tom said work was exhausting and he needed to catch up on his sleep. "Why don't you go to the gym?" he asked. Joan was furious. When she was running off to the gym, he wanted to do things together. Now that she was around, he wanted to sleep late. We are reading from The Rules for Marriage, Time-Tested Secrets for Making Your Marriage Work by Fein and Sherrie Schneider on TR Tuesday. Today it is number 1712 that I'm reading, consecutive days for you. And let me, okay, there we are. Okay, we are reading wisdom because knowing the right things to do can be wisdom, and then doing them can be virtuous. So we're bringing more virtue into the world, morsels of a thought at a time. When a man turns the tables on you like that, it's easy to feel like a victim and make a big issue out of it. Don't. He's just human. We don't always know what we want either. You're better off resuming your activities and dropping the subject. Just realize that men are used to taking care of themselves. They don't have to read books on codependence. They naturally put themselves first. Women, on the other hand, tend to be caretakers, wanting to please everyone else and putting themselves last and then feeling like victims when they're not appreciated. It's important to find a happy medium. You should not be so busy that you have no time for your husband, but there is no reason you can't pursue your career, see your girlfriends once a week, or take exercise classes and still have time for him. Your husband should be the most important person in your life, but he should not be everything or nothing. Strive for balance. Regardless of what he thinks or says, he will be happier when you are fulfilled and busy. But the reason you need to remain interesting is for you, not him. Why stop growing as a person just because you are married? Ooh, I had a relative that completely stopped growing when she got married and had children. Not the children, but when she got married. Her mind was totally frozen in time. And it has not unfrozen since. It is so weird to watch that happen when you're a single woman and you see a married woman, and then the married woman somehow make her husband her whole life. This is where the mind can get frozen. That's Ying's example. Back to the co-authors. We know women who read the newspaper religiously and followed politics with fascination when they were single, but once they were married, they totally lost touch with current events. You should not become brain dead just because you are married. Mindy's problem was a little different, but you can probably relate. She didn't want to make a decision without her husband's input. When she was single, she was very decisive. She ran an executive recruitment firm, decorated her own apartment by herself, and traveled the world alone. But after being married a few months, she lost her initiative. She didn't want to think for herself. When she felt the kitchen floor needed retiling, she wanted Andy to help her pick the colors. When she had to choose drapes for the living room, she wanted Andy, a CPA, to go with her to look at fabrics during the middle of tax season. I just can't take off time anytime. Figure it out yourself or go with your mother. Whatever you decide is fine with me. Really, Andy told her. Mindy was so afraid of making a mistake that she wanted to put off decorating until after tax season. She would rather sit in a half furnished house for 6 months than make a decision. It wasn't bad for Mindy to ask her husband's opinion, but once it was clear he wasn't interested, she should have persevered on her own. This kind of fear and codependence is quite common among married women. If you're anything like Mindy, you need to be told that being married doesn't mean being joined at the hip, and that all decisions don't have to be made with your husband, especially when he shows no interest, that if you keep doing nothing while waiting for your husband's approval, you will have no backbone or self-esteem, and that it's okay to make mistakes. Women like Mindy sometimes need to act single, quote unquote, just go out and buy the tiles, or nothing will get done. Being happily married means finding a balance of togetherness and independence. Women who stop living their lives or depend too much on their husbands for companionship or decision making end up feeling unhappy and unfulfilled, and their husbands know it. Don't let this happen to you. No. We're going to find a little bit of a, let me take a look. That one was continue to be a creature unlike any other. A CUAO. Number 10. Number Rule number 2. Rule number 2. Continue to be a creature unlike any other. A CUAO. When you were single, being a quote creature unlike any other end quote was all about attitude, having the self-confidence to weather a bad date and holding on to the conviction that you would one day find the right man, the man who would love you for the unique person you are. We asked you to pump yourself up before dates and believe in yourself. When you're married, you must continue to believe that you are a creature unlike any other, but now it means having confidence that your husband loves and appreciates you and that you can have a successful and fulfilling marriage. In other words, apply the self-confidence you had while dating to being a happily married woman. Exactly what do we mean? Here are some examples. Maintain a positive attitude. It helps to be optimistic, not cynical, and to look at the glass as half full. You still believe in love and marriage, even if some of your friends are divorced or this is your second marriage. You smile a lot. You're easy to be with. You're not a grievance collector. You don't hold grudges because you know that grudges hurt you more than the other person and add wrinkles and years to your life, so you don't tolerate them for more than 5 minutes. You believe that good things happen to good people most of the time, so you try to be good. You don't care if people think you are naive or a Pollyanna. It makes you happy to think this way, and that's what counts. If you work, you do your work and go home. You don't make work your whole life. You are balanced. You believe in family first, business second. Your priorities are straight, and you're not jealous of what other people have or do. We are reading The Rules for Marriage, Time Tested Secrets for Making Your Marriage Work. And we are hoping to gather wisdom. Knowing the right things to do for the married women this time today is wisdom. And then doing it is virtue. So here, the co-authors say, don't make mountains out of molehills. For example, if you trust your husband and he talks to an attractive woman at a party, you don't spend the entire car ride home grilling him about her. So, did you think she was pretty? If you were single, would you have asked her out? Leave him alone. Your husband is allowed to talk to another woman or find her attractive. It just means he's a man and has eyes. Sometimes a married woman will call us to complain that her husband's ex-girlfriend calls once a year just to say hello. She wants to know how she should handle this. We tell her to do nothing. As long as her husband is not the one calling the ex, there's no problem. You're in control, and you make an effort to be calm. Whether you practice yoga or meditation, the 12 steps, light candles, read the Bible, go to temple on Saturday or church on Sunday, try to figure out some way to rise above the daily craziness of life, the trivialities, and the petty annoyances that can bog down a marriage. Stay centered. Know that daily know that the daily discipline of exercise or prayer or whatever it is you do will give you the strength to get through everything, so you set aside the time to take care of yourself in this way. Hence, you don't live from crisis to crisis. Your life is not a soap opera. You don't let people or events ruin your Serenity. You know that happiness comes from within. But you're not an evangelist. If you are into some self-improvement program, are anti-fur, vegetarian, an ex-smoker, or quote, born again, end quote, you are not trying to convert everyone you come into contact with. Nobody likes a zealot. They're boring. You know, that you just have to live your life and not try to change anyone. You believe in live and let live, beginning with your husband and your children, and you are serene. In the rest of this book, you will find more than 40 ways to help you continue to be a, quote, creature unlike any other, end quote, throughout your marriage. Now, that is amazing. Now we'll go to rule number 1. I want relax during the engagement and wedding. That's 4 pages. That's 5 pages. The foreword, why we wrote the rules for marriage. Ah, let's do this. The foreword, please. Forward, 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 onward we go. Why we wrote the rules for marriage. Have you ever wondered why some women are happily married while others are not? Why some are content and others are constantly fighting with their spouses and feeling miserable? The truth is, marriage isn't easy. If it were, 50% of marriages wouldn't end in divorce. Why are some marriages less successful than others? Success takes work. You might not want to hear this, but no one wanted to believe you had to work to get a man to propose either before the rules. And let's face it, you do. So if you are willing to work hard to get a man, we think you'll agree it's worth some effort to keep him. That's why we came up with the rules for marriage. Do these rules apply to you? Well, do any of these problems sound familiar? Quote, when we were dating, we did interesting things all the time. Now that we're married, his idea of fun is sitting on the couch, eating potato chips and watching TV, end quote. Quote, I want children now. He wants to wait a few years, end quote. Quote, his ex-girlfriend still calls every once in a while and sends him birthday cards. How do I deal with this? End quote. Quote, I like sex in the morning. He likes it at night, end quote. Quote, I love him, but not his parents, end quote. Quote, I resent the fact that I make more money than he does. I think he resents it too, end quote. These are problems many of our readers shared with us, so we've done a great deal of research on how to solve them, in some cases by avoiding them in the first place. The Rules for Marriage gives you answers to these problems and more. When we wrote the rules in 1995, we studied what worked and didn't work in dating. We noticed that women who acted, quote, hard to get, and, quote, got their man, while women who were too available and eager got hurt. We compiled 35 rules that helped women to be more of a challenge to men, such as don't talk to a man first and end the date first. As difficult as these rules were to do, they had to be followed strictly only for the first 3 or 4 months of the relationship. In many cases, it was best to do them until the man proposed, but after that time, he's committed, so you can relax a bit. Marriage, on the other hand, is long term. So the rules for marriage, while certainly not as strict as the rules for dating, must be a way of life. The rules for dating are like a short term diet. You don't have sex with him and act mysterious for a few months and you act mysterious for a few months to make him fall in love with you. In the same way that you don't eat dessert for a few months so you can fit into your bathing suit for the summer. The rules for marriage, however, are like a lifelong maintenance plan. Anybody can lose 20 pounds, but how many keep it off? Lots of women know how to catch a man, but how many stay happily married? Our focus here is not on getting a man, but keeping him. This means doing what it takes to make him happy. This can be as basic as making him feel important, being considerate, a team player, and it can also mean doing a bit extra, making a conscious effort not to nag or to be supportive of his ideas. All of this requires work. Unfortunately, and whether you accept it or not, most or all of the emotional work in a marriage must be done by you. It's not mutual. Proof: you are reading this book, not your husband. He is probably reading a thriller or a book about making more money in the stock market. We are not generalizing. This is just the way it is. In fact, your husband may not even like the fact that you are reading this book or talking to your friends or mother about your marital problems. Like most men, he does not like to talk to outsiders about his private life and believes that you should be able to solve your problems yourself or with him. So, we don't recommend discussing this book with your husband or asking him to read it. Even if he agrees with most of all of our advice, he doesn't like to think that you have to read a book to learn how to deal with him. Okay, here's a part that we will read. Okay. So we present to you the rules for marriage. You will find some rules harder than others. You won't be perfect and you will make mistakes. The important thing is to make a beginning and keep trying. In no time, you will want to do the rules for marriage for no other reason than because they really work. Good luck, Ellen and Sherrie. Note: between the writing of this book and its publication, Ellen has separated from her husband. The lessons learned in working on this book have taught her the true value of a rules marriage, and she is more committed to the rules than ever. She thanks her readers for their support. And you know what? She got married. She went out on hundreds of dates. She went to singles events and she met her husband, and she's now married a second time to a wonderful husband. He is very nice. Okay. Old Kinderhook.